"70 years ago, a group of friends decided to honor Good Crowder by naming a golf tournament in his memory. Crowder, an avid golfer, died in his 30s. Four-ball golf tournaments were popular in the Midwest, and that's what the group decided was needed at the Salisbury Country Club. They wanted a weekend when the club was seldom used, and that turned out to be Labor Day weekend, after they discovered that only 12 players had used the club the previous year on Labor Day weekend, 1951. John Henderlight started playing in the tournament when he was 14 years old. Over the years, when the stars lined up, he says, he won the regular division 3 times. Each time that he won, Jimmy Hurley brought him the metal newspaper plates that were used in the printing process at the Salisbury Post to describe his big golfing wins. They are framed in a place of honor in Henderlight's office.
The Good Crowder Memorial Tournament, as it was called, was started in 1952 as a tribute to a local individual named Good Crowder, who was a businessman and accountant by trade, very accomplished golfer, a very brave individual who was, I think, a bomber pilot or was on a bomber during World War II. Later on, one of the original founders of the tournament was A.D. Dorsett. A.D. was also an accomplished golfer, died in 1995, but played in the U.S. Amateur, won the Labor Day tournament several times, 5 or 6 as I remember, and was such a prominent golfer, so committed to the future and growing the game of golf in Rowan County that the tournament committee, several years after A.D.'s death, added his name to the tournament. As the tournament gained in popularity from the late 50s, one of the participants was Jimmy Hurley. And he was not just an ordinary participant, he was a contender. He would qualify for the championship flight. He had a very strong game. Jimmy was always a good athlete, but really enjoyed golf, enjoyed competing, and with Jimmy's participation, that also included quite a bit of press coverage courtesy of the Salisbury Post. Jimmy was the publisher of the Post, and then I think with his encouragement, the resources and the staff of the Post gave the tournament plenty of coverage. That coverage, I think, really helped to increase the number of entries. It certainly gained in popularity, and it extended the tournament's appeal beyond just the membership of the Country Club of Salisbury. Getting the best golfers in Rowan County was sort of the goal, and Jimmy's promotion of the paper through the extensive coverage that he provided every year, or the Post Sports Department provided, really did help to increase the number of entries from non-club members.
The Labor Day tournament captures the spirit of Jimmy. Sports, competition, the challenge of the country club course, fairness, the opportunity to spread the country club sport to players throughout Rowan County in a day when women, black people, and average citizens were excluded. He gave the tournament all his passion, including the considerable ink of the Post Sports Department.
He had a great level of skill, and anything that Jimmy did, he wanted to do well. And so if he's going to play golf, if he's going to make the effort, he's going to play it at a high level.
Jimmy's wife, Jerry, says that when he came back to Salisbury after the Army in the early 1950s, he began to play golf. He never took a golf lesson. In typical Jimmy fashion, he read professional golfer Ben Hogan's how-to golf books. He and his brother Hayden played every Sunday. Jerry remembers that he practiced on the putting green every day during the month of August, lining up 10 balls at a time. He loved the tournament, she says. That was the best weekend of the whole year with everyone immersed in it. He was proud of the golf course and thought that it was his civic duty to have the best that you could have.
Jimmy was great about that. He would be on that driving range in the afternoons when it was really hot, and he would just hit over 100 balls 3 or 4 times a week. I mean, it was that level of practice, that level of preparation. And you know, he was taking it very seriously, and he wanted his game to be in peak form.
Jimmy was in it to win. He won the tournament 3 times. In 1969 and 1972, partnering with John Fraser Jr., and in 1976 with Jim West. He often partnered with Jim Whitten. The competition is strong. Qualifying is difficult. John Eisenhower Jr., with 14 wins, holds the tournament record. He also teamed up to win it with his son Trip, who is now a golf analyst on the Golf Channel and played on the PGA Tour for 5 years.
Jimmy was a fixture in the championship flight every year, no matter who his partner was. Made it to the semifinals multiple times. So he was a consistent performer. He had a high level of skill that he worked very hard to enhance and develop. Everybody wants to be playing well, playing their best, and the competition is really something special to him.
Jimmy's drive, both on and off the course, made the tournament the place to be on Labor Day weekend. The gallery is big, there are lots of golf carts on the course, and there are numerous parties during the tournament. It's a fun time.
Then the tournament really started to flourish, and I'm 100% certain that it would not have received the level of success that it did without the coverage provided by the Salisbury Post.
Bud Mickle, who has played the course since the late 60s, says that the course has always been ranked in the top 20 by the North Carolina rating panel. Mickle, who has won the Labor Day tournament 4 times, calls it a good test of golf with every kind of hole you can think of. Both Bud and his wife Betty remember Jimmy as very competitive. They loved the writing style on the Post sports pages. The words still jump off the pages of those old newspapers with the same excitement as when they were fresh off the press. The sports guys, including Jimmy, who could do every job in the newsroom, wrote of booming tee shots, turning on the steam, stretching his advantage, knocking in birdies as if pars had gone out of style, grueling matches, smooth stroking duos, second round fireworks, desperate rallies, rescuing a failing team, relentless attacks, playing brilliant golf under pressure, thrilling the gallery, sinking pressure putts, dagger-like blows, and on and on. One of the tournament volunteers is Jane Hubbard, whose late husband Joel played in the tournament. Every year, she hand-addressed 500 to 600 invitations to players from the 3 clubs in the county at that time, McCandless, Corbin Hills, and the Country Club. There are a lot of good amateur golfers in Rowan County, she says. Women, each assigned to a foursome, worked as spotters and kept scores during the tournament. After each hole, the players' scores were verified with the volunteer scores. The scores were always in sync.
With Jimmy, it wasn't just he who was promoting the tournament. His wife, Jerry, also got involved. She was one of the volunteers, but Jerry would get involved in making those arrangements, and that was a tough job. It was a big job. She was just a wonderful volunteer and very supportive of Jimmy and his efforts to support the Labor Day tournament. She was a terrific organizer, and yes, the volunteers that work today stand in her shadows. This is a strict adherence to the USGA rules. I think folks like that. They like to play under strict tournament conditions, and you know, it's a great experience, and the volunteers want that experience for everybody.
Jane Hubbard says that people think of the country club as an elite group. She thinks Jimmy's purpose was a goodwill type thing. The tournament gives members a chance to make the country club accessible to all the golfers in Rowan County. Everybody in the county looks forward to it, she says. Jimmy paid for golf course renovations, including in 1989 when Hurricane Hugo took out the trees that identified certain holes, plus a new putting green when the new clubhouse was built, as well as the back nine renovation project in 2001. There are plaques honoring Jimmy at the putting green and the number 10 tee box. Jerry says Jimmy thought that the back nine was a disgrace and uninteresting. She jokes that she blamed Richard Rendelman for talking him into the project. After the renovation, Richard hit the first ball. Ron Bivens has been superintendent of the golf course since 1984 and has worked closely with Jimmy on renovations.
Mr. Hurley paid $1.2 million to rebuild the back nine. At first, his idea was to improve 4 of the holes because of flooding and bad designs, holes number 11, 12, 13, and 14. Then we threw in a 5th hole, number 10. After we talked about it, looked at the expense and thinking we would have to have 5 holes different from the rest of the golf course, he agreed to rebuild the back nine with 2 stipulations. We would not raise members' dues, and we would leave 9 holes open during renovation so members could play 9 holes or play the front 9 twice for 18 holes. Mr. Hurley rebuilt a new putting green and dedicated it to his golf playing partner, John Fraser Jr., who had won the Labor Day tournament twice. And he was his partner in a number of Labor Day tournaments. All the courses around us were being rebuilt. If that hadn't been for him starting the renovation, we might not still be having the Labor Day tournament. By Mr. Hurley rebuilding the back nine, it made the membership come back 2 years later and rebuild the front nine. It made our golf course one of the best in the state.
Gaines Beard, a longtime friend and former assistant golf pro who tried his hand at the PGA Tour, says that Jimmy took him under his wing as a little brother. He did that for a lot of people, he says. He was a very giving man.
The Good Crowder Labor Day Four-Ball received more coverage than most newspapers gave the Super Bowl. Jimmy was an avid fan of golf and a very good player. He always told me that if you were going to do something to make a difference, to do it anonymously, because that was just the correct thing to do. That's just the way Jimmy Hurley was, he and Jerry and his brother Gordon. He helped a lot of people anonymously. He paid college tuitions and high school tuitions to young men going to Woodbury Forest and to Chapel Hill. The tournament is a huge deal. He was proud that non-country club members could come and compete. In the early 2000s, almost 250 teams would try to qualify. That's 500 families in the county. Jimmy always said that if you were fortunate enough to win the Labor Day Four-Ball, that you should be proud and that you could die happy.
The Labor Day tournament's over the Labor Day weekend. This is toward the end of the summer, but it's the peak of the golfing season. It's the high point of the season. And so this is the tournament that everybody strives to really improve their game. For a lot of us who are volunteers, we have so many memories of our friends that we played in matches that just are special memories that we hold on to. I know I do, especially my friends who are no longer here. And so it's such a great event to play with a good friend, to be in the competition, support each other. When you mess up, you forgive each other, and all that, I think, just makes for a better friendship. You get in the spirit of competition, you endure the stress of competition, and at the end of the match, win or lose, you've got a better friend. This is what I'll call real golf.